The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Elder Teho rose to address the assembly. Representatives from 1,000 worlds watched as the ancient being's translucent appendages gestured toward the holographic display, showing a blue-green planet in an unremarkable spiral arm. This species calls themselves humans. Elder Taho's voice resonated through the chamber. Our preliminary observations indicate they possess several concerning traits: remarkable adaptability, aggressive curiosity, and a tenacity that borders on pathological. The newly admitted Vorax Confederation delegation shifted uncomfortably. They had just discovered this Earth on the edge of their expansion territory, and were eager to establish what they viewed as an easy conquest. We strongly advise against any unauthorized contact. Taho continued. These humans have progressed from primitive tool use to rudimentary space travel in mere millennia, a developmental curve that defies standard evolutionary models. The Vorax ambassador rose, mandibles clicking in what translated as dismissive laughter. With respect, Elder, we have subjugated dozens of pre-FTL species. These humans possess no significant technology or defenses. Your caution seems excessive. As the council meeting adjourned, Elder Teho approached the Vorax ambassador privately. The humans have a saying: those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. 3 civilizations before yours discovered humans. None exist today. The Vorax ambassador merely flicked his antennae in dismissal. 6 cycles later, the Vorax fleet entered Earth's solar system. Their plan was simple: demand resources as tribute, display overwhelming force, and establish Earth as a client world. It had worked countless times before. Admiral Chunho of Earth's Defense Command watched the alien ships appear at the edge of Neptune's orbit. The massive vessels dwarfed humanity's largest ships. Intelligence officer Subin confirmed what they all feared: unknown alien technology far beyond Earth's capabilities. Send the first contact protocol message, ordered Chunho, and alert all colonies to prepare for possible hostilities. The Vorax commander, Tuck, was pleased when humans responded quickly. Their primitive language was easily translated, their diplomatic signals suggesting fear and awe, as expected from a species that had barely reached their own moon. 3 days later, a human delegation arrived at the meeting point near Mars. Led by Ambassador Yuna, they'd brought samples of Earth's resources as gifts for the visitors. The Vorax delegation, confident in their superiority, didn't bother scanning the small human shuttle thoroughly. Your species will now provide quarterly tribute of 30% of all planetary resources, Tuck announced without preamble. Resistance will result in orbital bombardment of your major population centers. Ambassador Yuna nodded slowly. We understand. However, I'm authorized to invite one representative to Earth to formalize the agreement with our planetary council. Tuck selected his second-in-command, an ambitious officer named Krell, for this task. The human shuttle departed with Krell aboard, escorted by 2 Vorax security drones. What the Vorax didn't know was that humanity had detected their approach 3 years earlier. What looked like primitive space technology was merely the visible part of Earth's capabilities. Deep beneath the lunar surface, massive shipyards had been working continuously. Hidden bases throughout the asteroid belt housed weapons platforms, designed specifically to counter the technology Earth's long-range sensors had detected. When the human shuttle carrying Krell entered Earth orbit, Admiral Chunho gave the order. Thousands of stealth satellites activated simultaneously, generating an energy field that disabled all communication with the Vorax fleet. On the dark side of Earth's moon, bay doors opened, revealing hundreds of warships that had never been detected by Vorax scans. Ambassador Yuna smiled at the confused Krell. Your commander made a critical error in judgment. We've been observing your kind for decades. Your technology is impressive, but not unknown to us. Back on the Vorax command ship, Tuck watched in horror as his fleet systems began failing one by one. Human ships, far more advanced than anything they'd shown, emerged from hidden positions throughout the solar system. Admiral Chunho's message was brief: The Vorax Confederation has 24 hours to leave this system. Any ship remaining will be destroyed. Any future incursion will be met with immediate force. We have no interest in conquest, only in being left alone. The stunned Vorax fleet retreated, their supposedly easy conquest revealed as a carefully laid trap. When they reported back to the Galactic Council, Elder Tahoe merely nodded. I warned you. Humans appear primitive because they choose to. They have survived 3 attempted invasions already by appearing weak until the perfect moment to strike. The Vorax ambassador's mandibles drooped in humiliation. But why didn't you tell us explicitly? Elder Tahoe's appendages rippled in what might have been a shrug. Would you have believed me? Some lessons must be learned directly. The humans have another saying. Don't judge a book by its cover. Perhaps now you understand. The Council voted unanimously to classify Earth as a prohibited contact zone. Meanwhile, humanity continued its quiet observation of galactic affairs, building its defenses and waiting for the day they would choose to properly introduce themselves to the galaxy, on their terms, not as conquered subjects. The emergency alarm echoed through the United Nations spaceborne headquarters as delegates rushed to the main chamber. News of the Galactic Council's demand for tribute had spread quickly. 30% of all human resources would cripple the colonies and devastate Earth's economy. President Doyon stood at the central podium, her face grim but composed. Representatives from all 27 Earth nations and the 12 colonial systems filled the circular chamber. The mood was tense, but not panicked. We have 72 hours to formulate our response, President Doyon announced. Admiral Hyun will present the military assessment first. Admiral Hyun stepped forward, his decorated uniform bearing the scars of the Mars conflict 15 years earlier. The holoprojector activated, displaying ships of various alien designs. The Galactic Council appears formidable, but our intelligence suggests vulnerabilities, Admiral Hyun explained. For the past decade, we've been intercepting and decoding their transmissions. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Few knew that Earth's quantum listening posts extended so far beyond the solar system. The Council follows a pattern, continued Admiral Hyun. They identify developing worlds, demand tribute, and establish dominance through fear rather than actual military engagement. Their technology is advanced, but their tactics are predictable. He switched the display to show Earth's hidden fleet, ships far more sophisticated than anything officially acknowledged in public records. Since the Mars conflict ended, we've been building, Admiral Hyun said quietly. The Artemis program was a cover for our deep space shipyards. The Jupiter mining operations concealed weapons development. We have options. Next, Dr. Minji approached the podium. Small in stature but commanding in presence, she had spent her career studying potential alien civilizations. The Council believes we are primitive, she explained. Their scans detected our public space program, the old chemical rockets, the basic orbital platforms. They missed everything else. Dr. Minji displayed intercepted Council communications. They categorized us as a Class 3 pre-FTL species, expected to surrender immediately when confronted with superior technology. She smiled slightly. They don't know about our quantum drive tests. They haven't detected the gravitational shielding we developed during the Mars conflict. Most importantly, they believe humans always choose survival over conflict. The colonial representative from Proxima, Jin Woo, stood up. My grandparents fled Earth during the resource wars. They built our colony with nothing but determination and recycled spacecraft. We will not become slaves now. One by one, representatives voiced similar sentiments. The European Union delegate pointed out that humanity had survived countless near-extinction events. The African Alliance representative reminded everyone how their nations had overcome centuries of exploitation. Ambassador Yona, who had met directly with the Council envoy, addressed the chamber last. They expect our answer tomorrow. They anticipate our surrender. Her voice hardened. They should have studied our history more carefully. President Doyon called for the vote. The result was unprecedented in human governance, unanimous rejection of the Council's demands. As the formal session ended, key leaders gathered in the secure strategy room. Admiral Hyun unfolded the real military plans. "We can't match their numbers," he admitted, "but we don't need to. Our stealth technology is better than theirs. Our quantum weapons can disrupt their shields, and they don't expect resistance at all." Dr. Minji added, "Their psychology is their weakness. Most Council species evolved as herd animals. They believe strength comes only from numbers. They cannot comprehend that we might fight despite being outnumbered." The Mars colony commander, Junho, whose people had nearly won independence from Earth before the peace treaty, spoke up. "My forces stand ready. Our underground facilities can produce 50 stealth fighters per day once activated." President Do-yeon nodded. "Begin preparations immediately, but maintain absolute secrecy. As far as the Council knows, we're simply taking time to organize our tribute." In the days that followed, humanity's greatest mobilization unfolded in complete secrecy. Hidden shipyards throughout the solar system activated. Colonial defense forces merged with Earth fleets. Scientists finalized weapons that had been theoretical just months earlier. Admiral Hyun oversaw the deployment personally. Ships gathered in the shadow of Saturn's rings, using the planet's magnetic field to mask their energy signatures. Supply lines were established through quantum corridors, invisible to conventional detection. On the final day before their deadline, President Do-yeon addressed a private council of war leaders. "For all our history, humans have fought each other," she said quietly. "Today, we stand united. Whether we succeed or fail, this moment marks the first time our species has faced an external threat as one people." Admiral Hyun reported the fleet was ready. Dr. Minji confirmed the psychological warfare elements were in place. The colonial representatives pledged their full support. Tomorrow, President Do-yeon concluded, the Galactic Council learns that humans do not pay tribute. We may appear primitive, we may seem divided, but when threatened, humanity responds with everything we have. As the Council's massive ships approached Earth the next day, they detected only normal communications and routine space traffic. Just as they had predicted, the primitive humans were preparing their tribute. They had no idea that the greatest ambush in galactic history was about to unfold. The message from Earth's diplomatic corps reached the Galactic Council with perfect politeness. "We thank the esteemed Council for their generous offer. Our planetary governance requires additional time to prepare proper tribute arrangements. We humbly request a 60-day extension." The Council representatives laughed among themselves. Typical behavior from a pre-FTL species, delay tactics born of fear and desperation. They granted the extension with smug condescension. Behind this facade of meek compliance, Operation Sleeping Giant was already underway. Deep within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, mining facility Ax-7 had never appeared on any official human registry. Its exterior resembled thousands of other commercial operations, a collection of habitat modules and processing equipment attached to a medium-sized metallic asteroid. Council surveillance satellites cataloged it as a simple resource extraction point. Inside, however, the asteroid had been hollowed out decades ago. Chief Engineer Sung-ho moved through the massive hidden shipyard, where 3 Thanatos-class battleships neared completion. Workers in exosuits swarmed over the massive black holes like ants, installing the final components. "Time estimate?" Sung-ho asked his assistant. 38 hours until all 3 are combat ready," replied Juwon, checking her tablet. "The graviton disruption systems passed final testing this morning." Sung-ho nodded with satisfaction. The GD weapons were humanity's secret advantage. Developed after scientists studying the Mars conflict discovered how to manipulate gravity fields. The weapon could collapse an enemy ship's propulsion system without destroying the vessel itself. Similar scenes played out across 27 hidden facilities throughout human-controlled space. On Jupiter's moon Europa, Commander Do-yeon supervised the loading of stealth field generators onto transport ships. In the Kuiper Belt, the experimental quantum entanglement communication array came online, allowing instant secure messaging that the Council's technology couldn't detect or intercept. At Luna Command, Earth's official military headquarters, Admiral Hyun projected an image of normal activity. Council observation posts recorded routine patrols and training exercises using Earth's publicly acknowledged ships, outdated vessels with conventional weaponry that posed no threat to Council forces. In his private command center buried 2 kilometers beneath the lunar surface, Admiral Hyun reviewed the real deployment schedule. "How many ships have successfully deployed with stealth systems active?" he asked. 87% of the fleet, sir," replied his tactical officer. "The remaining vessels will be in position within 18 hours. The Admiral studied the 3-dimensional map showing the true extent of human military power. Hundreds of ships positioned strategically throughout the solar system, all invisible to Council detection methods. Meanwhile, Ambassador Jayan prepared for her mission to the Council Nexus. Her official diplomatic vessel was luxurious, but obviously unarmed, exactly what the Council would expect. Council intelligence would thoroughly scan it, finding nothing suspicious. What they wouldn't detect was the quantum entanglement device, hidden within Jayan's ceremonial necklace, connecting her directly to Admiral Hyun's command center. Nor would they notice that her ceremonial escort consisted of decorated veterans from the Mars conflict, each carrying nanotechnology weapons disguised as formal attire accessories. Most importantly, they would never detect the fleet of stealth ships that would follow Jayan's diplomatic vessel through Council space, using its energy signature as cover for their own movements. The Council's chief of security, an 8-limbed being named Crag, personally reviewed the intelligence on the approaching human delegation. Primitive design, minimal shielding, no weapons, he reported to the Council. "They're bringing tribute samples as expected. Our scans show no unusual activity in their home system." The Council's surveillance systems were considered flawless. They could detect energy emissions from half a galaxy away. What they couldn't detect was the absence of emissions. Human stealth technology operated on a fundamentally different principle, absorbing rather than emitting energy. 2 weeks before the scheduled meeting, a test of this deception occurred when a Council scout ship made an unannounced visit to the Jupiter mining colonies. The massive human fleet hidden among the moons froze in place, stealth systems at maximum. The Council vessel conducted standard scans, recorded the expected mining activities, and departed without suspicion. The moment it jumped to faster-than-light travel, Commander Doyen sent a single-word message to Admiral Hyun: "Validated." Their deception was working. As the departure date approached, Ambassador Jayan addressed the small group who would accompany her to the Council Nexus. "We present ourselves as humble, even fearful," she reminded them. "We carry sample resources as if ready to pay tribute. We express gratitude for the Council's patience. Not until the signal is given do we reveal our true purpose." Her team nodded solemnly. They understood their role in what might become the most consequential moment in human history. On the day of departure, Earth's public news networks broadcast footage of the diplomatic vessel leaving orbit, a message of peace and cooperation for the galaxy. Citizens watched with orchestrated hope, playing their part in the charade. Behind the scenes, Admiral Hyun gave the final order: "Execute Operation Sleeping Giant." Throughout human space, hidden shipyards sealed their bay doors as completed vessels moved into formation. The newly activated Thanatos battleships took their positions at the center of the fleet. Earth's greatest military force in history assembled silently, invisible to the watching eyes of the Council. As Ambassador Juyeon's ship accelerated toward the designated jump point, a vast shadow followed, humanity's answer to those who demanded tribute. The Council expected submission. They would receive something else entirely. The majestic Council Nexus spun slowly against the backdrop of twin blue stars. The massive space station represented the power and authority of the 17 species that ruled this section of the galaxy. Its gleaming spires and imposing defense platforms projected an image of unassailable strength. Ambassador Joyeon's small diplomatic vessel approached the designated docking port. From the command deck, she watched the enormous structure grow larger in the view screen. Her 12-person team made final adjustments to their formal attire, each checking that their hidden communications devices were functioning. "Remember your training," Jayan told them quietly. "No matter what happens in there, show no reaction until I give the signal." Security drones scanned their ship thoroughly before permitting docking. Council guards, tall reptilian beings with armored scales, escorted them through the station's gleaming corridors. Alien representatives from dozens of worlds watched the humans pass, some with curiosity, others with thinly veiled contempt. The council chamber itself was designed to intimidate visitors. Its vaulted ceiling rose 50 meters above the floor. The 17 council members sat on elevated platforms, looking down at the small area where petitioners stood. Holographic displays showing tribute payments from other subjugated worlds floated throughout the room. Tak, the blue-skinned council representative who had delivered the original demand, stood to address them. His voice boomed through the chamber. "The grace period extended to your species has expired. We trust you have brought samples of your tribute and a schedule for regular payments." Ambassador Jayan bowed respectfully. "Indeed, we have brought what you requested." She opened a small ceremonial box, revealing glittering minerals and data crystals. Council members leaned forward, their greed evident even across species barriers. "These samples represent Earth's response to your generous offer," Jayan continued, her voice steady. "Our complete answer requires a visual demonstration." Tak waved a hand impatiently. "Proceed." Jayan touched the jeweled pendant at her throat. A subtle vibration confirmed the quantum signal had been sent. "The tribute you demanded is here," she announced, activating a holographic projector disguised as a ceremonial staff. The chamber's lighting dimmed momentarily, the only outward sign that something extraordinary was happening in the space surrounding the Nexus. On the large display screens throughout the chamber, warning signals began flashing. The hologram Jayan projected showed real-time external views of the Council Nexus. One by one, massive warships appeared where empty space had been moments before. The stealth fields dissolving revealed vessels larger than anything the Council had in its own fleet. 57 warships, arranged in perfect attack formation, now surrounded the Council Nexus. At their center were 12 ships of a design never before seen, midnight black with pulsing blue energy lines tracing their hulls. The Thanatos-class battleships, each capable of neutralizing the Nexus's defenses within minutes. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Security alarms blared. Guards reached for weapons. Several council members shot to their feet, shouting contradictory orders. Tak's blue skin paled to nearly white. "What is the meaning of this? You were supposed to bring tribute." Ambassador Jayan's posture changed subtly. Gone was the appearance of deference. She stood tall, her eyes cold. "We have brought precisely what you demanded," she replied. "You asked for tribute. In response, we have brought our answer." The chamber's main communication screen activated. Admiral Hyun's face appeared, calm and resolute, from the command deck of the Lid Thanatos vessel. "I am Admiral Hyun of the United Earth Defense Force," he stated. "You have mistaken our reluctance to engage in interstellar politics as weakness. This was a miscalculation." The Council's military commander, a massive being with 4 arms, rushed to a control panel. "Activate defense platforms. Launch countermeasures." Ambassador Jayan smiled slightly. "I wouldn't recommend that." On the screens, several Thanatos vessels pivoted slightly, training weapons on the Nexus's main defense platforms. Blue energy pulses, barely visible, reached out and touched the platforms. Rather than exploding, the defense stations simply went dark, their power neutralized by the graviton disruption weapons. "Your defensive capabilities have been temporarily suspended," Admiral Hyun explained. "No permanent damage has been done. This is a demonstration, not an attack, unless you choose to make it one." The Council's Supreme Elder, an ancient being rarely seen in public sessions, emerged from a private chamber. Unlike the others, the Elder showed no fear, only careful assessment. In 1,000 cycles, no species has dared to threaten this council, the elder said, voice raspy with age. You risked the combined might of 17 civilizations. Ambassador Jian gestured to the screens showing Earth's fleet. We risk nothing. Your scans are already telling you that our technology exceeds your own in several key areas. We could have arrived without warning and destroyed the station. Instead, we chose to talk. Admiral Hyun added, humanity does not seek war. We seek respect. We will not pay tribute, today or ever. But we are prepared to establish diplomatic relations as equals. The council members conferred hurriedly among themselves. Their military commander urged immediate counterattack, but the tactical displays clearly showed the hopelessness of such action. Tak, who had so confidently demanded Earth's submission months earlier, now looked shaken. How did you hide such a fleet? Our surveillance is the most advanced in the galaxy. Perhaps, Jian replied, your assumption of superiority blinded you to the possibility that others might have developed different technological paths. The Supreme Elder raised a gnarled hand for silence. It seems we have much to learn about humans. Ambassador Jian, you have made your point most effectively. The Council withdraws its demand for tribute. Admiral Hun nodded on screen. That is only the beginning of our discussion. The tribute system ends today, not just for Earth, but for all species under your control. The human fleet remained in position, weapons ready but not firing, as the most surprising peace negotiation in galactic history began. The grand conference room aboard the human flagship Peacemaker buzzed with activity. Representatives from 32 species, the 17 council members and 15 tributary worlds, gathered around a circular table specially designed to accommodate beings of vastly different shapes and sizes. Ambassador Jian and Admiral Han sat side by side, facing the Supreme Elder across the table. Here are our terms, Jian said, activating a holographic display. First, the tribute system ends immediately for all species. Second, a new governing body will be formed where all members have equal voting rights, regardless of technological advancement. Murmurs rippled through the alien delegations. The Supreme Elder's facial tentacles quivered, a sign of deep thought in their species. What you propose would overturn 1,000 years of galactic order, the Elder observed. An order built on exploitation, replied Admiral Hyun. Our fleet remains in position. These terms are non-negotiable. Unexpectedly, the representative from Neri, a small world that had paid tribute for centuries, rose from her seat. Her crystalline body caught the light as she spoke. The humans speak truth that many of us have long wished to say, she announced. My people support this proposal. One by one, other tributary species voiced their agreement. Even more surprising, 3 council members, those whose civilizations had more recently joined the ruling body, aligned themselves with the human position. The military commander of the council forces slammed his 4 fists onto the table. This is outrageous. We should crush these upstarts now. Admiral Hun remained perfectly calm. You are welcome to try. The tension in the room reached a breaking point until the Supreme Elder raised a hand. We will vote on the human proposal. Within hours, the results were clear. The majority supported restructuring. The Galactic Council would dissolve and reform as the Interstellar Commonwealth, a democratic federation where all members had equal standing. Not everyone accepted this new reality. As human diplomats worked to establish the new government, Admiral Hyun received an urgent message from Earth's Defense Command. Sir, we've detected multiple Council warships breaking formation. They've disabled their transponders and are moving toward jump points. Hyun recognized the danger immediately. Alert all Earth defense stations. The hardliners are making their move. 3 days later, a battle group of 7 Council vessels appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. Led by the former military commander who had rejected the new order, they expected to find a vulnerable homeworld with most of its defenses deployed at the Nexus. Instead, they discovered Earth's true defensive capability. Massive orbital platforms revealed themselves, their weapons locking onto the intruders. Hidden shipyards throughout the solar system launched fresh squadrons of fighters. Defensive grids activated around every human colony and settlement. The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. The Council ships found their weapons neutralized by gravity fields they couldn't understand. Their engines failed under targeted pulses from Earth's defensive grid. Not one human life was lost. Rather than destroying the disabled vessels, Admiral Hyun ordered them towed to Luna Station. The captured Council officers were treated with respect and given a simple choice: accept the new order or face permanent exile to an uninhabited but habitable world. Most chose to return to their homeworlds and accept the change. 6 months later, Ambassador Jaehyun stood before the first full assembly of the Interstellar Commonwealth. Representatives from 92 worlds, former Council members, tributary species, and newly contacted civilizations filled the chamber built on neutral territory. "Today marks a new beginning," she declared. "For too long, this region of space operated under the principle that technological advancement granted the right to dominate others. Humanity rejects this premise. Advancement brings not just power, but responsibility." In the months that followed, human diplomats worked tirelessly to ease tensions between formerly hostile species. Earth shared certain technologies, particularly in medicine and agriculture, while keeping military innovations secure. Trade routes opened between worlds that had previously competed only for the Council's favor. The former Supreme Elder, now serving as a regular representative of their species, requested a private meeting with Admiral Hyun, one standard year after the confrontation at the Nexus. "I have lived 9 centuries," the Elder said, "and never have I been so thoroughly surprised by any species. We believed you would either submit or attack in blind rage. Instead, you showed both overwhelming strength and remarkable restraint." Admiral Hyun nodded. "Humanity's history is filled with war. We learned its cost all too well. When we finally united our own world, we promised ourselves we would not bring our worst tendencies to the stars." The Elder's tentacles rippled with what humans had learned was laughter. "The irony does not escape me. When we demanded tribute, you answered with warships. But when you had victory within your grasp, you offered peace. That is humanity's paradox," Hyun replied. "We prepare for war hoping never to fight it." The story spread throughout the galaxy. New species encountering the Commonwealth heard the tale of how humans had transformed galactic governance overnight. Some dismissed it as exaggeration until seeing the human fleet firsthand. The lesson became a saying repeated in the diplomatic halls of 100 worlds. When asked for tribute, humans answer with warships. And then, surprisingly, with peace. The former Council leaders who had so confidently demanded Earth's submission now worked alongside human diplomats, building something far greater than their old empire had ever been. The galaxy had expected either submission or destruction from humanity. It received revolution instead.